Hey guys, in this video I want to show you 5 rhythms that every nylon string guitarist should know. There's so much fun stuff to play on nylon string guitar, and if you can understand these 5 rhythms that I'm going to show you, you'll have so much more success in every new song that you learn. Our first rhythm is the basis of so many awesome old classic Latin songs, and it's called the Bolero Rhythm. The Bolero is what we think of with those classic songs like Bésame Mucho, Quizás, 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 Sabor a mí, all these awesome old songs. But before we dive into actually playing this on the guitar, listen to the bass in this old version of Quizás, Quizás, Quizás by Trio Los Panchos. Okay, could you tell what's happening there? In the bass, and this is related to what's going to happen in some of the rhythms coming up, but it's very straightforward. The bass is playing very prominently on the 3rd and 4th beats. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Something that you might not hear in a Bossa Nova, for example. We've got a very straightforward rhythm, not a lot of syncopation here, even though it's Latin and we kind of think of syncopation when we think of Latin rhythms. This is pretty straight. We can do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So this particular case, there's so many ways to play the same rhythm, so many variations we can do. But here I'm slapping on the 3 and the 4, like the bass was doing there. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm doing at the beginning there is playing a 4-stroke rasgueo. There's a lot of ways to do this. Gypsy jazz players play a bolero this way very often, but they're doing it with a pick. But we could count it like this. 1, triplet, 2, and 3, and 4, and... Or you could do this. 1, triplet, 2, up with your thumb there. I like to do up with the thumb just before I'm doing a slap. Whatever feels comfortable to you. 1, triplet, 2, and 3, and 4, and... If you don't like that many slaps, only slap once. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want it to be too syncopated though, because that starts to sound like a rumba, which we'll see coming up. So if I were going to play Quizás, Quizás, Quizás chord melody style, I might have the melody. Now I can't play that rhythm because I'm occupied playing the melody and trying to put some of the chords together, right? But at the end I could go like this. See, there I could fit that rhythm in there because there's no melody happening at that time. So when you're playing the chords and the melody together, we look for those places where we have a little breathing room and we try to capture the groove of that rhythm, even if we can't even sometimes get a whole measure in there. I can approximate that same rhythmic pattern without strumming, going like this. 1, triplet, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Those are the opening chords to Bésame Mucho. The second rhythm you definitely should know is the basis of so many fun things to play on nylon string guitar, and that is the Rumba rhythm. We know a little bit about the basics of the Bolero, but see if you can notice what's different than the Bolero in the bass and in the rhythm guitar of this Gypsy King song. Now there's one main thing that's different from the Bolero there, and that is they're playing a heavy, heavy accent on the and of 2, and that's almost a definition of a rumba. We're going accent on the 1, on the and of 2, and the 4, and you have an instant rumba. But check this out. We had the Bolero before, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. If I try to leave out the 3 and call attention to the and of 2, we get this. Instant rumba. So we just modified the Bolero just a little bit. We took the accent from the 3, moved it over a half beat, and now we have some syncopation. That's when we have accents in between the beats. See, if I cut the 3 out and make the and of 2 a little bit heavier, it really calls attention to that accent. If I hit the 3 though, it kind of obscures a little bit, which we don't want. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and. So even the bass guitar is doing that there as well. It's going 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1. You can leave the 4th beat blank even. If we had to break a rumba down into its constituent elements, I would just say 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 3 things. Another way to count that, as you may have seen in some of my other videos, is to count to 3, count to 3, and count to 2 with no interruption between those 3 groups. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. There's our rumba. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. There's so many ways to play a rumba. We just want to keep the spirit of that groove happening, and we can do all kinds of stuff in between. There I'm slapping on the 4th beat, but leaving the 3 kind of obscured and hanging out there so that your ear really hears that accent on the and of 2. Now the 3rd essential nylon string rhythm is the tango. We're talking about Argentine tango here, and there's so many ways to do this, but first listen to this recording by Roberto Grela, great Argentine tango guitarist. Listening to the chords. Now there's different ways to count things. We can count in 2/4 time, we can count in 4/4 time. So it depends on what our perspective is. I, as an American, tend to gravitate towards 4/4 all the time. But what you can hear there is that we're playing on every single beat. So this is actually more straightforward than the bolero, but at the same time, there's a lot of drama and attitude there. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to count it that way, if you count it in 4/4 time, the melody of that song, El Choclo, would be 16th notes. We're just playing 1 time per beat, cutting it in half every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm doing is playing with a fleshy part of my thumb, no nail, just kind of raking it across there because I don't want it to sound too aggressive, even though a lot of those tango rhythms, there are aggressive sounding. But the staccato-ness is what's important, so I'm just kind of rolling it past and then killing it as soon as I can. And we have like instant drama, I think. If I had to say what's the difference between bolero and tango, #1 thing is it's more staccato for sure. We're going 1, 2, 3. We're thinking of Roxanne by the Police. That's a tango. And we're doing some syncopated stuff in the bass there as well. Another way to conceive of that tango rhythm you just heard is to play every other beat if the melody were written in 8th notes. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get a lot of mileage out of just that rhythm, and it's actually really simple to play. Out of everything you've seen today, this is by far the easiest, but there is a kind of this driving groove that we really have to be feeling. But there's other ways that you'll commonly hear a tango played, and that's going to include way more syncopation. In the example we just talked about, we're just playing on every single beat, hitting it really hard and trying to make that sound dramatic. But we could also do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2. See that bass note coming in there on the and of 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. You could mix it together with what we just did. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Really great way to play a tango. Let's look at ground zero of the Argentine tango. What they say is the first tango ever written, and that supposedly is La Paloma. You hear what's happening there? To me, it's like a combination of the bolero and the rumba in the sense that we have the 3 and the 4 there, like we did in the bolero, very straightforward, right on the beat. But we also have the and of 2. So we have 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, and 3, 4. So I like to think of that classic habanero rhythm as being a combination of those two ideas. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. But how you'll commonly see this written is in 2/4 time, in which case that and of 2 is really a 16th note now, like this. 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and. So people say that that came first and then it was the rumba coming from Cuba. Who really knows, but it sounds good to me. Such an awesome rhythm. You should check out all the other ways that you can play the Argentine tango rhythm. Very, very cool. Okay, the next rhythm that you definitely need to know, because you're going to see it in tons of Spanish guitar, nylon string guitar stuff, is the waltz. So a lot of people who aren't musicians know what a waltz is. We're in 3/4 time, counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The basic, really standard, and very, very common way that we'll play it on Spanish guitar is like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have our thumb playing on the first beat. We can let it ring all 3 beats, and then we play block chords on the 2 and the 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Of course, we can do variations on that with a thumb. So that's simple enough if you're just playing the chords, but what if you're doing a chord melody, which all the stuff that we do on nylon string guitar, I mean not all the stuff, but most of it, is really what we could call chord melodies, right? We use the phrase chord melody usually when it's not classical guitar, but classical guitar, like here's Romanza, right? Everybody should know this one. Little Spanish guitar piece, right? That's a chord melody. The melody is on this string. We have accompaniment and we got the bass here. We could say that we have like 3 voices going on there. So when that happens, it gets a little more sophisticated and cool. Check the song out. Called Mi Favorita, a really great Spanish waltz. What's happening there is instead of playing the thumb and then 2 block chords here, we play the thumb and the ring finger at the same time, and then we play an abbreviated block chord. So instead of 3 fingers, index, middle, and ring, just play index and middle on the remaining or the adjacent 2 strings, in this case strings 2 and 3, and play that twice. So we have this kind of groove. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. As long as you follow that waltz groove, there's all kinds of stuff you can do in 3/4 time. The 5th and final rhythm that you must know as a nylon string guitar player is the Bossa Nova. The subject of Brazilian rhythms is this whole rabbit hole that you could go down and get into samba and choro music, baião, all these really awesome rhythms, and I suggest that you do that. Bossa Nova is so popular, people really recognize it when they hear it, and it's pretty laid back, not too hard to play, but there is some syncopation in there. So let's get 2 ways to play a Bossa Nova, a really simple way and then a way that's a little more involved, but not too hard at all, especially considering what we've already talked about in this lesson. For the example of this rhythm, I'm going to play the chords from the A section of the Girl from Ipanema. We have an A minor chord, but with F in the bass. It's not really A minor anymore, it's F major 7. Then we have G7 like this, G minor 7, G flat 7, flat 5, and then we're back to F major 7. What we're going to do here is play the bass note just on the 1 and the 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a block, kind of like the waltz. Once you can play the waltz, you can play the Bossa Nova by just adding another beat, but a couple of just tiny elements here, right? So the waltz went like this. 1, 2, 3. Here we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and. So when you play the second block chord, play it a little bit earlier, right in between the beat. 1, 2, 3, and. It's on the and of 3. On the 4th beat, just let it go by. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can complicate things a little more by adding 1 more block chord, 1 beat after the one we just did, which is also on the and of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. We can go further by doing anticipation. That means playing the upper notes of the next chord whenever there is a chord change on the and of 4. So leaving early. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You hear it? We're hearing the new chord on the and of 4. There at the end, I've veered into a 2-measure bossa pattern. Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you do like the Bossa Nova, check out my Bossa Nova Basics and Beyond course, where I take you from absolute beginner all the way to playing a little bit of samba, learning about syncopation, anticipation, playing chord melodies, all kinds of stuff in that great course. If you're looking for me to teach you more stuff, let's go back to rhythm number 1, the Bolero, and let me show you how to play a classic bolero right here.